Hey there, guys. It's Rick here with Gateway Airguns, AirgunWeb. We are here at Let's Talk Airguns at the Daisy Nationals, the 58th Daisy Nationals in Rogers, Arkansas. I have Steven here. He is third generation Daisy. I almost said Gamma. Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Third generation Daisy. So I was hearing, was it your grandfather moved here with the company?
My family in 58, my dad started working for Daisy. Actually, my grandma was working for Daisy up in Michigan.
Wow.
My dad graduated high school in the early 50s. Told mom, grandma, I guess I need a job now. She goes, well, Daisy is hiring. So he went down to Daisy, got hired on, and in 57 they announced. Of course, by then my dad got married. My two sisters were born up in Michigan. In 57 they announced that they were going to be moving the plant from Plymouth, Michigan, down to Rogers, Arkansas. And so my family is one of the 100 families that moved down with Daisy.
Kind of like being on the Mayflower.
Kind of. And that group was a very tight-knit group because they all left their families up in Michigan. So the Daisy people that moved down became their families. So when you hear about the Daisy family, that's what they're referring to, is all they had was each other to rely on.
Well, I remember when Gamma first acquired Daisy, I remember going, and there was a transition period. Mm-hmm. And there was probably a lot of questions with folks like, what's going to happen now? But I think as we look at it today, it's turned out all right.
Well, one thing we've noticed is Gammo's and Daisy's cultures were very close to each other. They were family-run companies.
Right.
They had the same characteristics, and the merger was very easy.
It worked.
It worked.
And now, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
So it was a great merger. But like I said, when we moved down from Michigan, we were the first major corporation moving to Northwest Arkansas. Up until then, there was no corporations. I've talked to old timers that say, well, it was hard to get a loan for a house because there was no set wages in Rogers.
Wow.
Well, Daisy moves in, and now there's set wages. And at one time, we were up to over 1,000 employees.
Wow.
Running 3 shifts. We did everything under one roof. We did our own die making. We did our own everything. The only thing we did not do was we didn't make our own wood stocks. And we didn't have a leather shop anymore. So we got in all the thongs for the Red Riders from another company. But everything else was done in-house. Wow. Made our own BBs in-house. Plastic, everything.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. I actually had the opportunity, my daughter did, this was many, many years ago, and you guys used to have kids come in and make their own Red Riders?
Mm-hmm. Still do.
She got to make her own Red Rider, had the little jig, and it was a lot of fun.
Yep.
So
yep.
that was pretty cool. Now, you talk about community, and we talked like this much before camera, so a lot of what we're talking about now is just us, getting to know each other and getting to learn about the company and everything. But you talk about community, and I can only imagine what Daisy, Gammo, and now Iconic with everything means to this community in the sense of just the breadth of what's available. I mean, you have a lot of people working on a lot of different things right out of Rogers.
Oh, yeah. We are the Airgun. Rogers is the Airgun capital of the world.
Yeah.
It's all centered here.
Yeah. Now, what do you do at Daisy?
I'm the art director for Daisy.
The art director?
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you do box design?
Yep. I handle all of the look of the packaging.
Oh, that's very cool.
I'm the liaison between all of our ad agencies and all of our people that do help us with pagging and stuff like that.
All right.
It's a fun job. I get to do a lot of different things.
I would imagine. Yeah. You got to have that person.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's kind of cool. How long have you been doing that?
So my time with Daisy is off and on. So when I graduated from high school, I worked out in a factory for 2 years.
Okay.
And that's where I learned how to build guns, how they all went together. When I went to college, when I'd come back for the summertime, I would work out in a factory because I'm already trained out there. So I'd work out in a factory. Then when I got out of college, they hired me on to do a fixed set survey for the company because they didn't know all they had.
Right, wow.
So I used to joke around. I was like, so you're paying me to explore this company? And they're like, yeah, we're paying you to go through this whole company and find what we have because we don't know what we have. So I was having a ball doing that.
I would imagine so, yeah.
And then I went off and did my own thing. And then back in, what was it? It was can't remember when I came back, but it's been 23 years ago when I came back on board.
Okay.
I ran into Ray Hobbs at a softball tournament, and he knew who I was. He knew my family history with the company, and he'd asked me, "You want to come up for a picnic? We got our new offices all set up, and you know, like to come up and have with our picnic." I said, "Sure." I still know a lot of people here, so came up there and came out of there
That's awesome.
with an offer to come back to Daisy.
That's cool. And you've been there for 20-some years now.
And so, yeah, I think all my time together, I've been with Daisy about 25 years.
That's very, very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, we were talking a little bit beforehand. This is what I have observed, okay? So there are folks that punch a time clock because that's their job. And obviously, this is work. Okay, but there's also folks that are involved with the company because they love the company and they love what the company does. And the overwhelming sense of the folks that I've interacted with, this includes the folks I've met from Crossman on the trip, and we'll talk about the whole Crossman thing in a minute. That whole, you having to get over that, it's that knee-jerk thing. But besides that, I've really found that a lot of the folks I've dealt with are here. Yes, it's a job, but they're here because they absolutely love what the company stands for and what they do. So how has that culture really impacted you and your family and the folks you work with?
Of course, my history is a lot different than a lot of other, and there is another lady that works for us, and she's also third generation.
Okay.
So we kind of approach it differently than people that have hired on that don't have the family history. I was telling Keith one time, I said, you know, I really don't quite look at this as a job. I look at it as this is my turn to be a good steward of this company and to leave it a little bit better than when I came on board, as a thank you to my dad and all those Daisy people that came before me.
Sure. All right. Well, it's pretty cool to watch because this is a ton of work. I mean, there's a ton of sweat that goes into making this event happen. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I mean, how many of these have you been part of?
Well, when we were in Bowling Green, I would kind of help do the setup. I never traveled with it. I started getting heavily involved when it came back to Rogers.
Yeah.
Is when I got
How long
involved
have
with
they been here at Rogers?
Oh boy, I don't remember. It's been a while.
Okay, I got you.
It's been a while. Yeah.
But they were telling me they used to do this competition
outside,
outdoors in the sun.
in a
ball field,
football field.
I can't imagine. Sue, can you imagine being this, but out there in the heat in the sun?
Well, and I just talked to a coach just a little bit ago, and he said we had to lay towels over the top of the barrels because the sun would hit the top of the barrels, heat them up, and warp them.
Yeah.
And so they said we had shooters that couldn't hit anything. And he's like, what's going on? These shooters can hit, they're great shooters. They can't hit anything. Well, they went back to the hotel, test fired guns, like, well, you're hitting perfectly. Yeah. Then they figured out, oh, that's just enough heat to warp those barrels.
Yeah, and I actually have that in Texas where I am. Even if it's covered, you got to really cover you got to get them out of the sun. If they're in direct sunlight at all, you're going to have some consistency issues.
Yeah,
for sure.
So in my office, I have my original 99 that I shot competition with.
Wow.
Yep. Wow. And I have my vest because we all had vests at that time.
Wow.
Can't wear it anymore, but I still have it.
I got that problem too.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that. So what is your favorite gun? Well, let me ask you this question. Now you guys have a lot more to choose from.
Yes.
All right. We have Crossman. Should we talk about the whole Crossman?
Oh, sure.
thing? Yeah. So where were you when you heard, oh, we're buying Crossman Benjamin?
I was in my office, and Amy comes in. She goes, have you read your email yet? I'm like, no. And she goes, you need to read your email. So I opened up Brett. I was like, we did what?
Because, all right, you guys got to understand, if you didn't know this, there's a thing called mortal enemies. And Crossman Benjamin were mortal enemies of Daisy and Gammo Daisy. In fact, Gammo and Daisy weren't really friends, but then that changed, and now this whole thing. So it's been like a culture shock, probably on both sides of that particular coin.
And I had to say, getting to know the Crossman people has been great. Everyone that we have left from Crossman have been amazing to work with. Because our cultures are still, even though we were competitors, our cultures were still kind of the same.
Well,
We
Crossman
both dealt
was
with the
very
same
much-
things.
Well, Crossman was very much, at least in the beginning, very much family
Oh, yeah.
oriented, small. You know,
And they still are.
yeah, I
and
mean,
that's why we fit
yeah,
together.
Yeah. It's been great to watch. And Keith and I've talked to Keith. I talked to Kevin earlier today. The idea that you have these iconic brands that actually fit very well together is great, because you could have just an acquisition for acquisition's sake. You know, like, you know, we want to take out our competition, but this was an acquisition to actually build out both sides of the equation.
Oh, yeah.
So Crossman gets the advantage now of having gaps better represented, and Gamma has the same things. It's been really, really cool to watch. So your favorite Daisy airgun?
880.
Okay. It's a great
far.
gun. That's a great gun.
That's what I spent most of my time with when I was working in factories building 880s.
You know what we need? We need the Daisy SG22 back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but that was a great gun.
That was a multi-pump 22. That was a beautiful Woodstock. That we need that gun back.
22 pellets are my favorite.
Look. Whoever's watching from Daisy, Gamma, Iconic, whatever. All right, we need an anniversary edition, some sort. It can be the 61st. I don't care. Anniversary edition of the SG22. That would be super sweet. Nice custom stock, little etching on it. Anyway, that's just my wish list. All right, favorite Gamma gun. Do you have one?
Not really.
Okay,
No.
well, that's all right. He's a Daisy.
I mean,
guy.
I'm was born and raised Daisy, so
fine.
most of my favorite guns are Daisies.
Okay.
I mean, you know, Crossman, they have some good guns too, but I just never was into anything else but Daisy guns.
All right. Well, the 880 is like a pretty good gun.
Yeah. You know, what's funny is I never owned a Red Ryder until I started working with Daisy
Really?
this time. Yeah. I never had a Red Ryder.
I didn't either. It wasn't my first. I think my first gun might have been a Benjamin Sheridan pump. My dad. It was my dad's gun that he didn't know I shot.
Oh.
And then I think he had this was when I lived in Chiliota, Florida, so I was probably 8. I'm 54 now, so you can kind of do the math there. The neighbor kid had a Crossman 357 pistol, CO2 pistol. So that was like, there was many a squirrel died at the hands of the Crossman 370.
Yeah. Now, my all-time favorite Daisy gun, and it's not been produced since the 60s, it's the Model 300.
Okay, I don't
which
remember
was
that
based off of the Model 200 pistol.
Okay.
It was our first CO2 pistol. I always said it reminds me of, there's a James Bond poster where James Bond is sitting like this and he's got a pistol.
Yeah.
It looks like that, and that gun actually originated from an actual Ruger 22.
Okay, that would make,
And so this guy had bought the parts for him because they discontinued it and bought the parts for it. And then he converted it over to a CO2 gun and showed it to Daisy, and we decided we wanted to buy it. So the original one was the Model 100, and you could still see where the bolt would originally be, but it was not an active bolt anymore. But you can see that. So that we sold it 1 year as the 100. Then the next year we just die cast over that, redid the molds. That was the 200, which was a pistol. Then we brought it out as the Model 300, which was a rifle. And the funny thing was the pistol was more accurate than the rifle.
Wow.
Because the BB is a CO2 gun, and the BB stayed in the barrel too long in the rifle, and it pushed it too hard.
I got you.
So the pistol was actually more accurate.
Wow.
But the 300 was my all-time, because it was also a 5-shot semi-automatic.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which was cool.
Yep, yeah, back in the day. Yep, that's pretty neat. I don't know anything about that vintage, but that sounds like a fun gun.
Yep.
For sure. Well, let me see. There's got to be more questions, because I was told that you would come here and I could basically walk away, and when I came back, you'd still be talking. So,
well, you didn't quit talking.
I did. Okay, fine, whatever. So now that you've been here, you've got this acquisition that's done. Are you doing box art for Crossman now too?
I never in 1,000 years would I ever dream I'd be box art for Crossman, but I am.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
But like I said, it's been great. Working with all those people up there has been great. We're all Facebook friends now.
Okay.
We text each other stuff. It's like they were long lost family members that I didn't know yet.
Yeah.
And so it's been great.
It's been a transition for me too. There was a lot of guns that I really enjoyed working with that were Crossman Benjamin that I was separated from for a while, now to be back and have those. I was giving Keith a hard time, or he was giving me a hard time. There was a hard time being given in both directions, I'm sure. But I grabbed the one of the Armada semi-autos today. So I'm going to be taking that back and shooting that. So I'm excited about. But that kind of stuff, I mean, I like the Benjamin. And
Benjamin's great. Really good. It's a great product.
I'm excited to get back into that myself. So, but it's cool that you guys have had this transition. It's been a year now, a little over a year, I guess.
Yeah, didn't realize it, but it has been a year. Yeah. It's been very busy.
I would imagine, because you guys moved everything to Rogers.
Well, and on top of that, we had to make a lot of packaging changes because of different laws. The rhesus law. Yeah. We have had to do some bilingual stuff. So there's been a lot of stuff on top of all that were getting done.
Well, you definitely have your hands full. I would have never thought about the legal logistics of box art.
Yeah, we have ASTM standards we have to adhere to. We have certain states have stuff we have to adhere to. So there's all kinds of things we have to do to meet regulations.
Well, I would never have thought about that. I'm glad that you do that, because I don't know that I could do that job. That would be a tough one.
Yep.
Is there anything that has you excited as you look to the future? Is there anything that really that's on your radar that you're excited about looking forward?
Well, I mean, not really. I'm just trying to get through what we got through right now.
Head above water?
Yeah.
I got you.
But no, there's always something new coming along.
Yep.
Not really.
All right. No. Well, that's fair enough. This event, you've done them a few times now that you've been here at Rogers. What's your favorite part of just nationals in general?
Barter barn.
About to hit that tonight.
Yeah, about to hit that. So I think what I'm going to do the next time I go buy a car, I'm going to get one of these kids to come help negotiate with me, because they can negotiate.
Yes, they can. And what you need is the next time that used car salesman across the way says, "No, you got to help me help you." You just stick that kid on them.
I'm sick the kid on them. Talk to my manager here. Exactly. He's going to take care of my deal for me.
The Barter Bar is awesome, and we're going to be streaming live. I came to that conclusion earlier today when we had the idea, and then it was, we're like
when he was pressurized.
Just imagine sheer chaos. 10 times
gosh,
more.
That would be fun, but we'll do it next year. And they're like, no, we're going to do it this year. I'm like,
you got to go in cold turkey.
Oh, man, okay. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And
we've done Barter Barn before, but we've never actually videoed it live.
They've done it live.
It is loud in there.
It is loud, and it is crazy, and it's a lot of fun.
It is fun. It is.
Somebody last year brought a tire,
and
they're bartering, and people are, I want the tire. I'm like, for what?
I think the tire made an appearance on stage, and it was like this whole bet. And
it ended up being like a mascot or something.
Yeah, there's this thing in my family. We had the donut. Let me explain. The tire might become the donut. For some reason, in our Christmas, somebody was given a blueberry donut for their present, for whatever. Well, the donut didn't get eaten. It got eventually bronzed, mounted, and somebody would always get the donut.
Well, I only think there's one fruitcake in the world just gets passed along.
Exactly. That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Well, speaking of fruitcakes, I'm going to probably dig off because we got more interviews to do. Stephen, thank you so much for coming, man. That's a hoot. I look forward to getting to know you more, getting to talk to you guys, the whole Daisy crew, Gammo crew, Crossman crew. I mean, I already know a bunch of you guys, but every time I come here, I get to know somebody better, and I get to know you guys better. It's great to hear the history, just the history connection, your all's love for the sport, love for these kids.
The kids here are great.
It is awesome. If you guys have never experienced something like this, you need to put it on your calendar for next year. Maybe just come in and visit and just poke your head in and see what happens. It is awesome to watch these kids compete, and the whole families and everything that you got going down here. It's a little quiet right now. It's
all broadcast live stream too.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is awesome. And so hopefully you guys can do that. It's pretty cool. That's going to be it for now. My name's Rick here with Gateway Airguns, AirgunWeb. We're on Let's Talk Airguns. We're going to get ready for our next interview. But for now, that's going to be it from Daisy Nationals, 58th Daisy Nationals. We'll catch you guys here in a little bit. See ya.
See ya.